right? So exceptions are basically runtime errors. Runtime errors are the errors which occur at runtime. So when you will run this program, you will see that there are some errors that can arise. So let's talk about the first error, which is the division by 0 error. So let's suppose I want to print 30 divided by 0. So 30 divided by 0 is will give you an error because it is undetermined, or it is infinite value, right? So since it is not defined, it cannot display 30 divided by 0. So when you will run this program, you will be able to see a runtime error here which says division by 0 on line 187. Zero division error, right? So this is an exception because this error occurs at runtime, but when you're writing this program there is no error, right? So let's discuss some more errors or some more exceptions. So let me just create an empty list. So if you will create an empty list and you will try to do something like this, you can see that there is no fifth element in this list. So how can you access that? So this will give you another error which is known as the index error. So this says list is index out of range on line number 188 and 5. Similarly, there is one more error which is the key error. Let me show you with an example. So let's create a dictionary which is empty, and now I'm going to assign a key here which is, let's say, kernel. So you can see that the dictionary is empty, and what I'm doing is I want to access the key kernel which does not exist. So when you will run this program at runtime, you will see an error which says key error kernel. So this key kernel is not found inside the dictionary because the dictionary is empty. So you can see that runtime errors can crash your programs, and they look ugly when you will run your program. So what we are going to do is we are going to handle these exceptions, and whenever these exceptions will arise in a program, we are going to just display some error message. In order to do so, we will use the try keyword followed by a colon, and now we are going to write the statement in which the error is more likely to occur. We know that this line print 40 divided by 0 will give a 0 division error. So what we are going to do is we are going to specify it in the try block like this. Remember the indentation, and after this, since we know that this can give a 0 division error, so we are going to use this reserved keyword except. So after except, we will specify the name of error, and we know the name of the error was 0 division error. So try means you are going to try this line, and if this line will give any exception, then this except block will just match it with this exception, and if it becomes true, it will run the following statement. So we will write here cannot divide by 0 like this. So when you will run this program, you will be able to see that there is no error in our program, and since it will just display cannot divide by 0 because the exception is there. So the program will not crash, it will just display the error, which is a good practice. So let's discuss one more example. So let me create a variable 1 2 3 4 5. Let's suppose this is a password, and in the try block what I'm going to do is I will just write if the value of x is equals to 1 2 3 4 5, So there are exceptions like zero division error, value error, key error, which we have already discussed. But let's suppose you want to throw an error. Let's suppose the error does not exist, but if the user enters some value that you do not expect from the user, you can actually throw that error using the raise keyword, and then you can just name the like this. So let's name it as raise value error. So raise is a reserved keyword. So if the user will enter some password like 12345, it is going to we're defining it inside this try block, so it will raise this value error, right? So when it will raise this value error, we are now going to catch it using the except keyword. Here we are going to specify the name of the value error, and simply we are going to print that this is a weak password, right? So let's run this program, and now you can see here that it says weak password because the value of x was 12345 initially.